me as a odd figure in South Africa. You're talking about the shack dwellers movement. And there are times when I feel like we're all on the verge of becoming members of an intellectual shack dwellers movement here. And I'm wondering why it's so difficult for us to expand our space and help each other flourish in that regard. I was wondering if you could talk about that in these sort of local contexts that we have. Are there things we can do to expand our capabilities?
To take the first part of that, I mean, I think there's never been a better time for Emma Goldman's line, "I don't want to join your revolution if I can't dance." I mean, I think, particularly since I get stuck into a lot of food politics, and food politics are precisely the place where joy and sensuality and enjoyment and pleasure are not only sort of mechanisms for recruiting, but actually the goal of the politics, the goal of politics in play. There's groups like Slow Food, for example, that are that have this sort of middle class taint to them, and that are in some circles sort of described as sort of this circle jerk of olive oil fanciers and red wine but at their heart lies a very interestingly radically democratic project, which is the idea that pleasure should be something for everyone, that everyone has the right to play, everyone has the capacity for pleasure, and everyone has the right to it. And therefore, what we must do is organize so that everyone has sufficient time and money to be able to enjoy and to be able to fight back against austerity. And that means organizing workers, as they did in Italy, organizing to be able to have higher wages for agricultural workers, and also organizing to have a 2-hour lunch break, so that they're sort of organizing to be able to create that sort of. And I think that's that possibility, to have joy as the goal and the mechanism, for both the means and the end. I think is vital right now. Of course, I'm poorly placed to talk about the academy and about intellectuals, but particularly about the academy, since I got out of graduate school, had an appalling dissertation, and couldn't get a job, and haven't since. So I'm not really. But maybe I can turn it over to somebody who's better at all this.
No, I don't have anything. I mean, I don't have anything to say about the academy in here. I mean, there are a lot of reasons we can see the way the segmentation and segregations, within the university structures that, not only within each university, but among the different ones within the state systems, within the private state systems. It's not a mystery to me that there isn't recognition of our common condition. Although in states like California and perhaps Wisconsin and Ohio, there could be. I mean, that could be a result of some of the changes in the recognition of our common conditions. And
Hello, and thank you both for coming. I'll strive to be concise, but I'll probably be indicted as another Polonius. But, so, I die, is this something like that? Anyway, I am slave. Okay, to the point. You opened, Michael, talking about the seeming contradiction between two segments of the activists in the world, the ecologically oriented and the anti-capitalistically oriented, with the one having a focus on the finite and the other the boundless. It seems, as you noted, through the important qualification seeming that it isn't a real contradiction. It's not that nature isn't abundant, but the access to that abundance necessitates that we relate to it in a particular way. A mode of relation which is incompatible with the term of capitalist organization systems of production. So I think that's where the ultimate consonance between those two movements come forward. However, the state seems to be preeminently the guardian of those relations, as is also the sphere of finance. And what I'm going to suggest is there's a fundamental incompatibility between radical democracy and a radically healthy relationship with nature and hierarchical organizations which are enshrined through capitalism and the state. does this not in fact lead to a point where conflict, or rather intense variety, becomes necessary? And we can talk about, you know, what we can do positively, but ultimately, isn't there going to have to be something like a showdown, not to be apocalyptic or anything? That would be my question.
But yeah, these realms are full of apocalypse, so apocalypse talk. Well, I don't really, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but in general, though, well, let's put it this way. You know those discussions about revolution late at night, and the one person says, "But does revolution have to be violent?" And the other person says, "I don't know what, smoke some or something like that." And my response to that is usually that it's always only in a secondary way I'd like to respond to this. Or the image that rules for me is exodus. So that, if the pharaohs had just let the slaves leave, if the Jews could they just want to leave. But it wasn't, Aaron and Moses weren't thinking of funny. But the pharaohs won't let them leave. And so you have to fight a kind of rearguard battle. But so in its essence, I think this is what I interpret what you're saying, is that at a certain moment in a project of transformation, those in power have often not allowed that transformation to take place without some sort of a battle or showdown, as you said.
Right. I can see that ultimately the power transfer power necessitates the conflict. But I think that there has to be an explicit acknowledgement of that conflict, especially if you're going to take democracy seriously and win back that word, which is presently in possession of what I would consider to be the people who control 1 to 3% of the capital in the world, and who still advocate for nuclear power and other monstrously bad ideas. Not to mention war and all.
Right. No, I agree with you. It's hard to.
Sorry, it's just a conversation that's a very congenial addiction to it. Sometimes
I know.
we have to acknowledge that some things aren't going to be so congenial. Anyway,
Right. No, I agree with you.
Have time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Raj, do you want to respond to that? It's not. Okay.
Hi. This question is, I guess, addressed to both of you. It's about sort of one of your ideas, Mr. Hardt, and it also sort of relates to your discussion of genetically modified crops in your book Stop and Start. Mr. Hardt, you mentioned that capitalism has inadvertently created many of the things that we can count among the commons today, such as ideas and communication networks, etc. And I was wondering if we were seeing a pushback as corporations are using organizations like the WTO to try to assert rights to ideas through treaties on intellectual property rights. And if you think that's the case, what do you think the implications are for the development of the commons? Thanks.
Okay, I'll do the brief one. I think, my view of it is that, here's the shorthand version. It's something like that what are becoming the core products within the capitalist economy, if I can put it that way, that are tendentially common are only productive insofar as they are common. And so that, like ideas, for instance, like in the scientific community, ideas have to be made common or else they're not productive. Right. That's what journals are for and conferences are for, is, so others can use the ideas and make, and once they are made private, they are no longer, or their productivity is reduced. So in essence, something like that, the property relations, the existing regime of property relations is a fetter on the productivity of productive forces. I'm sort of, I guess I'm saying that a contradiction within capitalist production that was well identified 150 years ago is ever more dramatic in this context. And quite simply that the relations of production